The time is 4:31. I'm going to call this 4:30 call board meeting to order. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I make that motion.
I second.
Motion by Ms. Youngblood, second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? All in favor? 4 and none opposed. Thank you. Item 3, fiscal year 2020 budget public comment. Is there anyone in the public that would like to offer any comment on the FY20 budget?
Okay, we'll stay here for 30 minutes.
I feel like I could do
Ms. Smith, CFO, do you have any comments, things you'd like to go over?
I'll make a comment about the FY20 budget. I have given y'all each a packet, and this is just an update on the changes since last meeting that are incorporated in the budget, and I went ahead and gave you a draft copy of what will be presented at the at the June 20th call meeting for tentative board approval. In it, y'all had requested that parapros go from 7 hours a day to 8 hours a day. So that is incorporated in this budget. It costs about $160,000 to do that. We had added about the addition of some band instruments for Pickens Junior High School, and we have added $30,000 to the budget for that. As I was reviewing all the line items, I try to review everything before we actually get to tentative approval. I did find where a textbook allotment, even though we talked about the total being about $110,000, it was not on one of the schools' allotment on their line item, so I made a correction for that. So the increase since the May 31st budget workshop is $233,000.
Would this be high school CTA department? Is that what you're?
It's vocational.
Vocational,
It actually,
textbook
most of it is high school, but there might be some books at Pickens Junior, but it's coded to vocational. Other changes that I just want to note and make sure everyone is aware of and has a copy of. We requested a couple of new supplements, eSports and bass fishing. We added a $1,000 supplement. Last meeting, I put in your packet an update to that under your supplements tab. We noticed after we did this that the other head coaches of similar activities actually had a $1,350 instead of a $1,000 supplement. So we did have a request to increase that to $1,350, but I did not remember specifically calling that to your attention, so I wanted to make sure everyone knew. And so there are copies of every single supplement attached to your packet just to make sure everyone has seen it. The other things are, and that did not change any budget totals. Mr. Oob, our county Fine Arts Director, wanted just to change the verbiage, the names of some of the supplements, not change any dollar amounts, but just the titles, and so I have listed those and have changed those in the supplements that are attached. So of course this did not change the budget. And then on the second page there, number 3 and 4, I have a tendency, I hide line items when I'm in there if we're not using them anymore, but apparently I unhid the personnel director supplement. It did not exist in FY19 and it should not exist in FY20, so I zeroed that. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And apparently I deleted the special ed directors. It said 0 and it should say 10,000, which is exactly what it is in FY19. These also did not require a change to the budget because we had calculated all that in. We had the correct totals just on this list. We had left those things off and left those things on. So the third page is just a copy of what we will present on 6/20 for tentative approval. And then there's just a copy of the supplements on the last few pages.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Anybody have any questions for her? are the, some of these supplements determined? I just know, like, for example, I just noticed like tennis head coach might make one type supplement, cross-country head coach make another type supplement.
It is,
Or, I mean, have,
it originated with the athletic director. They come to us and make a recommendation based on the number of participants in the sport, number of games, number of practices, and I'll go ahead and give you a heads up. Coach Parker is working on a proposal for a year from now, for next year. He's pulling information from other counties, just so we have a comparison, but it comes from the athletic director. If it's not a sport, then it will come from either the principal or the department where it comes from. Like anything that comes out of special ed funds, originates from the special ed department if it has to do with special ed grant funds. So it has to come from that area. We don't just randomly say, and then of course the superintendent makes recommendations when it comes to certain supplements also, when it comes to principals and assistant principals, things like that. I just put it all together.
I just wasn't sure how they, I assumed there was some type of
We compare
method
it.
behind the madness. I just
Yeah.
A lot of it is a comparison with our surrounding
Counties.
counties similar to us. And, but like the athletics and things, a lot of that has to do with the number of students that are participating. I mean,
the length of the season.
the season.
That
Number
makes
of
sense.
games, number of practices. And if there is something in particular you would like to see next year incorporated in his proposal, if you'll let me know or let him know, then we'll make sure it's in his proposal.
One of the changes that's occurring around us in the athletic supplements, especially the head coaches and some of the main assistant coaches, they're going away from supplements to some degree and starting to add a month, 2 months to their salary, and making them 11 and a half months or 12-month employees. Plus, some of them are doing that and giving a supplement on top of it. So we'll look around and see how competitive we are with our counties around us and those that we compete against. And we have worked hard at getting the quality of coaches that we currently have and the success. And I'll bring you a thing of our accomplishments this past year very shortly. But we don't want to start losing coaches to counties around us that have developed great programs here and headed in the right direction. So we'll look at that next year.
I'm glad we were able to work out that parapros from 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day. I think that's going to benefit everybody. You know, maybe a little more compensation and then assist those schools that were, you know, a whole lot more too.
And I was in touch with each principal and the special ed director. They all were very positive about that initiative, that they think it will be helpful as they're trying to schedule their day. We've had situations, because the paras are 7 hours a day, where maybe a para needed to assist a student off a bus and then back onto the bus, and the way our day runs, there is too many hours for them, so they can do one or the other but not both. And then you have a teacher in the classroom with the rest of the kids. You know, you run into some problems with someone being in, you know, a supervisor over those students. So this will, I believe, help that. I will point out that our teachers are 8 hours a day, period, and that includes their lunch. This will make the paras be on campus 8.5 hours. They'll get 30 minutes for lunch. It is not a paid lunch. They're paid for 8 hours a day. So that actually puts them there 15 minutes before or after, or 30 minutes before or after the teachers. So that actually will help when it comes to classroom supervision earlier in the morning and later in the afternoon, as you know, some of our schools have before school programs and they need to release kids to the classroom, and then after school programs too. I think the principals were very excited, and I know special ed, they think this will help them with scheduling to have just, you know, another hour a day to have that assistance.
Did we ever receive a recommendation? I know the special ed director was looking at maybe a different scale for certain parapros that have more
I talked to Ms. Bone, and she is still working on that because she was not aware of the $1 an hour pay increase, and they are still scheduling right now. What she wants to do at her proposal, and I mean, this could change a little bit, but she thinks that she wants to go more in the way of a supplement. But right now they're scheduling, so she doesn't know how many and who. So she asked for a little bit more time, but she wants to pay it through our federal grants. So we will be bringing those and amending those. We've got time to do that. In fact, just to give you a heads up, I'll be bringing a grant amendment. I've got a general fund amendment for tonight's meeting, but I will have a grant amendment on the 20th because we still have people doing their year end. They have to do all their federal amendments before the end of this. Each, like vocationals was by June 6th, but some of the others aren't until the 15th or 17th. So any of those I need to, get y'all's approval so that we can close the year with the correct numbers in all of those grants. So I'll do a federal amendment on the 20th. And federal and state, depending on the state grants. But she would like to do it out of the state grant instead of out of state or local funds.
And if we do it as a supplement, if they decide to go from a regular special ed parapro to a regular ed parapro, their hourly rate of pay doesn't, we don't have to come back and vote on it and change it. They just lose the supplement at that point, which makes it a little easier and cleaner.
The board would approve the supplements,
Yeah.
but then as people come in and out, we
They
can
would
do
assign
that.
something.
They would assign it to whoever is in that position. It keeps so much traffic from coming through, y'all.
Is there a classification for the people we're talking about? I mean, is there actually ones that are assigned to more?
There is, special education has 5 categories, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Each one has a specific state definition, but that's really for the teachers. But now you have paras who work in those situations. She has identified 12 to 14 positions that she thinks would be appropriate, but until scheduling is complete, y'all have to approve the supplement, and we typically say how many. We're working a little bit on the verbiage too of how we can state that, so it's not a constant come to the board and ask for an amendment, come to the board or ask for a change. But she needed to do a little bit of homework on that, so it is by far not over. We will be coming back with something. It's just we can go ahead and do the tentative general fund and special revenue at this time. But she asked for a little bit more time.
So there would almost just be an understanding of who this supplement is intended for, and
Wait.
then they would identify those that.
We want to write a definition of who would qualify. How she is going to determine which paras would receive this supplement, so there is not a question. That's part of the
Right.
technicality that we're working on, because you do have a few little legal issues there that we want to make sure we
Right.
have everything worded correctly. And this month too is training month for everyone, so everyone's kind of coming and going with training. And audit was here until yesterday, so it's been a little busy. But we will have something for you, I would hope, either in June or July.
I do. I'd like to say that through the research that we were doing for the parapros, I was pleasantly surprised to find out how dedicated these folks are. It's shocking how much time and effort. And adding this hour is not going to change their day because they're already there. These are very dedicated people that deserve whatever we can do for them.
I have not received a negative comment about the pay increase nor the addition of the time.
And I think that's one of the things we knew when we talked about it last time. We knew we might be getting them to 8 hours, but they're working 8 hours anyway.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, just let me point out that teachers, yes, are paid for 8 hours, the same way the
Right.
teachers are not there just for 8 hours.
absolutely.
Just so we're clear. Yeah.
Absolutely. This all looks great. Thank you for your work on the budget. I know it takes a lot out of you.
Thank you. It is.
Appreciate you
it's
keeping
a-
us
it's a-
informed of everything.
group effort, definitely. Every department, every school, every director, everybody is involved in this. We have a lot of input that comes into these budgets. So.
That concludes our first FY20 budget public comment section. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion by Mr. Smith, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Finley. Any further discussion? All in favor, 4 and none opposed. We are adjourned at 5 p.m. Thank you.